1, 2, 3. So this new problem seems to have sort of come out of left field now that we've tied up the benefactor thing. Maybe not like left field. It's been brewing, obviously, but I'm not too happy about the way this is going for the pack. Happy, like, writing-wise? Okay. I like that we're sort of utilizing Kate. We're utilizing her anger. I like that we've brought up Allison to Chris, kind of not too jazzed about the fact that Kate still hasn't said anything about her niece. Feel like that should probably come up at some point. Down at the bottom of my worry list, down here, this is going to be Malia's mother. I've heard that she's been casted. I've heard rumors back and forth about whether or not we're going to see her this season. There's only one more episode left, so unless we meet her next episode, God, there's only one episode left. This is awful. Unless we meet her next episode, kind of thinking that's gonna be something that they push off until season 5. What happened last week, which didn't really process fully until maybe like 2 days later for me, and a lot of you have mentioned in the comments, is that Malia's mother is an assassin. Peter seemed almost reluctant to work with her when he was talking to himself in the coma, where he was like, oh yeah, I'll work with this assassin and this assassin and this assassin and maybe even the Desert Wolf. So clearly, you know, I would say that she's not someone that Peter would get along with. Maybe she's even Peter-esque in her own, you know, I work for myself sort of way. We'll see how that goes. I don't think it's something that we're gonna have to worry about soon, hopefully. Because if they throw that in next episode, that's also going to be something huge to worry about that I'm just so worried about so many other things. I don't really need to know about that right now. Above that is the whole plot line that we've had with Lydia so far. Lydia spent this episode screaming and talking to Deaton. Lydia seems supremely worried, even though she is presumably going to stay in Beacon Hills while it sounds like the rest of the pack is going to Mexico to save Scott. But Lydia screaming means somebody's gonna die. So we have a list of people. Really don't think it's gonna be Scott. So I know that Kate's all like, oh yeah, I'm turning you into a berserker so like they won't know who to kill. It's like I really don't think that they're gonna kill Scott. So I'm okay with the true alpha. I know that Kira is locked up in the basement of the church somewhere in Mexico, but, you know, hopefully it won't be her. Kate Argent, thanks to Jordan Parish, seems to be relatively okay for the time being, even though you've been impaled through the stomach, but this is Hollywood and I have faith in you and your ability to heal from that. Let's just take that side note here. Oh my god, Chris feeling like he's totally lost and he has nothing left in life. These are all things that are awful, 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 but I'm really glad that we're getting to see some of it, because I'd rather see it and be sad than not see it and be angry. So I like that we kind of got Chris on the point, like the brink of despair. Above that, I thought Deaton might have been a goner for a while, but, you know, Lydia woke him up. That seems to be relatively okay. Most of Lydia's worried energy seems to be focused on Mexico. So as far as I can tell, my money is that someone is gonna die in that battle down there. So Malia's out to kill Kate, so that is a relatively good guess, because, you know, I want her to stick around. I'm so glad that we got her back. There's so much more that we could do with her character, but it doesn't look like they're gonna go there, which means it's quite possible that we're just gonna kill her and wrap up that entire storyline next episode. Also, there's Derek, because unfortunately, we still haven't seen that clip of Brayden clutching Derek's body and saying, Derek. Derek's name was also one of the ciphers for the Deadpool of dead people. So that's another thing not in his favor. And we have all of the rumors about Tyler Hoechlin from the beginning of the season and ambiguous tweets like it's been great working with you. So it's really possible that Derek's gonna die this season, but you know, I also thought that Isaac was gonna die last season and that didn't happen. So even though in a normal situation I'd be willing to put all my money on Derek and say that he was gonna die, this is Teen Wolf, and one thing Jeff has been really good at this season is ripping the rug out from under my feet. And when I think he's gonna go one way, he goes another way. So there's so much evidence for Derek's death at this point that I'm almost willing to just be like, no, it's not gonna be Derek. And that's only like 70% denial. That's like 30% me actually thinking that he's not gonna die. Other things on my worry list. Jordan Parish? What are you? I know that we've been throwing ideas around throughout the entire season. Briana and I were talking about the possibility of him being an empath at one point because one of the most consistent parts of Parish's character is his motivational speeches and his ability to calm people down. And because that's one of the only things they've been emphasizing, I can't tell if that's just like them trying to establish Parish as a character or them trying to put that forward as one of Parish's best personality traits in the fact that it might actually be part of his power. So, you know, we'll see. He saved Chris, at least, which was wonderful. And then, of course, we also considered, you know, maybe he's a phoenix, which would also be pretty chill. But at the moment, the biggest factor that we got this episode is that Parish has orange glowy eyes. Parish has glowy eyes. He joined the glowy eyes club. Glowy eyes, glowy eyes. The other person that we know who has glowy eyes is, of course, Kira. And hers are also orange. We know that Kira is a thunder kitsune. Maybe Parish is a fire kitsune. It would explain how he is impervious to fire. It would explain the orange glowy eyes. And I think that would be pretty cool, even though I wanted him to be something completely and utterly different from anything we'd ever seen before, but I'm totally okay with having another kitsune on the show because bonding. Speaking of bonding, that brings me to Mason and Liam. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. They were so cute. I love Mason so much. Mason is a wonderful character. He is a wonderful friend. He is a wonderful person. He knows that something's going on, but he hasn't gotten to a point yet where he's so mad that nobody has told him that he's gonna stop being friends with anyone until he gets answers, because that's not the kind of person Mason is. You know, he's still there to support his best friend, even though he doesn't really know what's going on, and he knows that Liam doesn't want to talk about it. But Mason's just gonna chill around and help him through it as best as he can without knowing the actual situation. I would really love if Mason got to find out next episode. You know, maybe Liam hears that Scott is in danger, and then Brett and Liam and Mason can all get tickets to Mexico together, and they'll just go on a little freshy trip to Mexico, and then Brett and Liam can like work out this like bond that they're sort of building through admiration of Scott McCall, and then they can tell Mason on the plane about the supernatural, and then we can go save Scott and none of them will die. That is something that I would really like, that I know is not going to happen. So, a moment of silence for that great storyline that I just came up with right now. And then, of course, talking about Mason leads us to what is actually happening to Liam right now. Oh my god, he is so scared, and that is so, like, real. But I'll let Briana talk to you about that.
I am in a fragile state. I don't know what that episode was. No. They took every character that I loved. Which, I mean, granted, which is all of them. But every single character that I loved and put them through either psychological or physical torture, and I'm not about that. I'm not about that at all. They can't do that. Chris mother freaking Argent and Jordan mother freaking Parish. I cried so much. So much. Oh, especially the I've got nothing left line. Oh god, I'm gonna cry again thinking about it. No. It was so bad. I mean, it was so well acted, and like J.R. Bourne and Ryan Kelly, like, awesome job, but also my heart hurts from it so much. Parish just being like, grab the bar, sir. Like, the show kills me. Scott, though. No. So I am wearing my Liam shirt. You can't see it right now, but it's a Liam shirt. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about Liam. Shocker there. Liam! I want to give a big round of applause to Teen Wolf for finally giving a character some aspects of post-traumatic stress disorder, because let's face it, every single pack member should have some PTSD after everything that they've been through. The fact that they're finally kind of showing that, like, that is a thing that's happening, I think that's really cool. I mean, not cool, I'm really upset that Liam's in pain, but I think it's very realistic, and I really like that they're not making him this big tough character who thinks he can do everything, because people aren't like that. No one can do everything, and I think that it's really important that they're showcasing that. Teen Wolf is a show that people can use kind of as, like, you know, as a role model in a way. We have the whole be your own anchor line. Melissa gave another great line saying that, you know, you can save people's lives, but you can't save them from life. And I think that, like, Teen Wolf has a lot of really good lines and really good themes to it. And I just really like that they're making Liam very relatable in terms of what he's going through. Because if anybody was dropped into Beacon Hills, like a normal person, this is how they would react. Like, you wouldn't think you were on top of the world. You wouldn't be bitten by a werewolf and then all of a sudden be completely in control and powerful and not afraid of anything. Like, that's just not how life works. I'm really happy with the way that they're taking Liam's storyline. Really upset that he's in pain, and I want to give him 1,000 hugs, but I'm content with what they're doing. The love for Liam Dunbar is so real. It's so real. Also, I really love Brett. I didn't like him at first, and I called him a lot of not so nice things, but I am a fan now because he has joined the Scott McCall fan club, and you can't really be a member of the Scott McCall fan club and be a bad person, because Scott McCall makes everyone a better person. Really hope that the rumors of him being a season 5 regular are true, because I would love to see more of him. I want Liam, Brett, and Mason to have like a little trio team, and it'll be cute and adorable, and they'll all be the best of friends, and then maybe Mason and Brett will get together, who knows, with Teen Wolf. And yeah, it'll be great. And then Teen Wolf should cast me as Liam's love interest. Yeah, that's what should happen. I will see you guys next week for what looks to be one of the most painful episodes of the season. Yay. Ow.
Other things we have to worry about. We do need to worry about Kate. We need to worry about Kate. I know Chris really isn't in the physical condition to go on an airplane right now, but maybe Parish can like drive him down to Mexico so he can have words with his sister, because I think that that's really something that needs to happen. They need to talk. Whether or not Kate is going to die in the season finale, Chris and Kate, they need to have a conversation, because I need to hear Kate talk about Allison, and I need to hear Kate talk about Gerard, okay? Because her father has been crippled and is completely MIA, which I'm not letting go, and her niece is dead. And I really like that, you know, we haven't forgotten about Allison. You know, we're clearly bringing her up in other areas of the show. I loved the conversation that Parish had with Chris about it, but I'm just gonna be really, really sad if they brought Kate back and she doesn't say a word about Allison and then they kill her off. That's gonna upset me. Regardless of that, we need to worry about what Kate's current plan is, which is Scott, and we also need to think about, if you're not worried, that's fine, I'm a little worried, but we also need to think about Kate's well-being as far as Peter and Malia are concerned. Because Peter, who is working with Kate, is, in a traditional Peter way, also working on a plan to get her dead so he doesn't have to work with her anymore. In an obvious dickwad move, Peter has moved his daughter into play and is totally okay with her becoming a murderer in his stead. So that's great. And Kate is in Mexico, Scott is also in Mexico, so hopefully, if not Scott, then the rest of the pack, Styles will be able to have words with her and stop her from becoming a murderer, because we need to have a reprise of the whole maybe murder runs in my family, maybe it doesn't conversation. So we're gonna have a reprise of that conversation, and Malia will not kill Kate. If Kate does die, hopefully it will be someone else. Preferably Chris, which would suck, but have a little bit of poetic justice, I guess. Or Peter. Peter joins us. Or Derek. Derek can totally kill her. And then he'll get his blue eyes back, and he'll get some power from killing Kate, and then we get to keep Derek. Moving over here to Kate's plan for Scott. I'm not too worried about Scott. I have faith in Scott McCall. You should have faith in Scott McCall. I have faith in the McCall pack, the Scott McCall fan club. Most things surrounding Scott McCall, I have faith in. So, you know, whether it's because his eyes are going to flash red and Kira's going to recognize him, or Styles is going to recognize him, or Derek's going to recognize him, or Melissa McCall is going to recognize him because Papa Stalinsky was standing in the loft with Derek and Brayden and Styles, so, you know, maybe we're just gonna take the parents to Mexico with us, because I think that would be a really good idea. Does anyone else think that would be a really good idea? And then we can have a Papa Stalinsky and Mama McCall moment. So whoever happens to recognize him, and then we're like, oh, Scott McCall is this one. Don't kill this berserker because it's Scott. And we're gonna reverse this, and it's gonna be great. Or if it comes down to it, and it's Scott McCall, true alpha, overcoming Kate's mystical Mexican bone magic to just completely reverse her own ritual on him. And he's just like, ha, I'm too great to be a berserker. And then he's just gonna have even more power, and it's gonna backfire against Kate's sorry ass. That'd be great too. Other things we need to worry about. Haven't seen them in a while, but we need to worry about the Calaveras. We need to worry about them because the finale is in Mexico. Scott has accidentally, but still, bitten a beta. And also, they were working with Chris. Oh God. That's another thing we need to worry about, which sort of got glossed over because we had bigger things happening last episode, but we need to worry about Chris Argent. And I'm not just talking about the glaring hole in his stomach that is there now. We also need to worry about that little safe that he had in his apartment last episode. Because last episode, we got to see Chris Argent going on a little hunt for some yellow wolfsbane. And yellow wolfsbane kills people. It kills supernatural people really quickly. And Chris looked really determined to get his hands on it. And there are bad supernatural creatures on both sides, but, you know, Chris was at least under the guise of working with the Calaveras. So I don't really know which supernatural creatures he obtained that for, or maybe he just obtained it for the Calaveras, and even if Chris is good, they can still take that. So there's some yellow wolfsbane lying around that we need to keep in mind, because that could very well be an important part of next week's season finale. I feel like we need to spend a little bit of time talking about the money. Scott finally gave the money in the duffel bag back to Derek, which was great. Also, I think it was really good for Scott to see that no one was mad at him. No one was mad at him for being a little tempted by a duffel bag full of cash. It's okay, Scott. You know, you're a werewolf. You put all of this stress on yourself to save everyone. Oh, great quote from Melissa McCall about being able to save people's lives but not save them from life. Melissa McCall, you are my fave. I think what is turning out to be a sort of like central theme with Scott this season. Scott is so caught up in worrying his own worries that he is a monster, even though he is a true alpha. That he's so caught up in being this great supernatural thing that he doesn't realize that it's okay to be human too. We got that great quote from Styles about being able to want something for yourself towards the beginning of the season. And now, towards the end of the season, we're getting some really great quotes about how everyone can be tempted by things. So Scott, while he's so caught up in the fact that he's going to turn into this huge monster, is holding himself to these huge, ridiculous standards to make sure that he can prove to himself that he's not a monster, but is also getting all these really nice reassurances from his friends that it's okay to be human too. You know, just because you sort of want a little bit of money to help out your family and all of your friends' families, that doesn't make you a monster. That doesn't make you a bad person, and it's not going to turn him into the giant demon wolf, which we got a little glimpse of last week, which hopefully won't make an appearance next week. Right, guys? Right, totally. No.
And as a little side note, the Stalinskys aren't in so much debt anymore. The Stalinskys aren't in so much debt anymore. The Stalinskys aren't in so much debt anymore. The Stalinskys are not in so...
Oh, wait, what? So much debt anymore.
Yeah.
Thanks, Eichenhaus. That's the only good thing you've done all season. That's a lie! That's not the only good thing Eichenhaus has done all season, because today we got to see Dr. Fenris! Yeah, Dr. Fenris! If you didn't know who Dr. Fenris was before this episode tonight, Dr. Fenris was, of course, the wonderful doctor who was working in the supernatural floor, who was talking to Dean a little bit at the beginning of the episode, is played by the wonderful John Posey. And if you didn't know him prior to this episode, it's because you have not gotten the chance to watch Search for a Cure, which I'm going to try and put down here. Yeah. Spoiler alert for Search for a Cure. Search for a Cure was a little thing that came out back in season 1 with Styles and Scott, which features the wonderful Tyler Posey's dad as a doctor who is struggling with the idea of the supernatural. He knew Talia, saved her life, and then she disappeared into forever. So he wasted his entire career trying to figure out things about the supernatural, only for his reputation to get completely ruined. So he was just sort of like sitting in his house trying not to smoke and trying to keep quiet after he changed his name. And then you have Scott, McCall, and Styles Stalinsky stumbling into his life, and then Scott renewing his hope that the supernatural is real, and that's how that mini episode ends. So you're always just kind of left wondering, or at least I was, like, whatever happened to Fenris? Like, is he still around? What is he doing? Did he continue his pursuit of the supernatural, or did he brush Scott off as, you know, just a freak with really good smell? A really good sense of smell. And today I got that answer, which is not one of the answers I ever expected to get. So thank you so much, because I can now spend less time worrying about what Fenris did with his life, because I have an answer. He did continue his pursuit of the supernatural, and he got it. And he got a job dealing with the supernatural, and you know, if nothing else, there's so much pain in the show, like, at least Fenris has got his life figured out. I can walk away with a little bit of solace from that. I think that's all we've got for you today, so thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being patient with us. It's been really hectic trying to settle in a different country, but it's been really great. So thank you all, and we will see you next week for the season finale, which will totally survive, right guys? We're gonna survive it. That's what we do. Ow!